All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time is an Indy pro wrestler, and from my understanding, she is currently at a show, and yet she still takes the time to join us. Am joined with Kat Green from Texas, right here, right now. Good evening, Kat.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing real good, and from my understanding, you are at a show right now. But I do want to take the time to say thank you for taking the time from the show, for doing this interview this evening. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Yeah, right now I'm at NWA Wrestling Revolution. It's a weekly show that we have. I am in the roster every week, so I wrestle here at CNL Ray in McAllen every week. Um, but yeah, I'm here at the show, and they gave me about 30 minutes to step outside.
Okay.
So yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Well, I'm not gonna. We're just gonna talk a bit for about 10-15 minutes, if that's good enough for you.
yeah, of course, of course.
All right. So, from my understanding, you've been wrestling since March of last year. Talk about how your wrestling career has been from then all the way to now. How do you feel about where you at as a wrestler, and where do you see yourself going moving forward? How do you feel about your almost a year being a wrestler thus far?
It's been great. It's been really fantastic. Wrestling Revolution really gave me that push. I started training January of last year, 2013, and I had my first debut match against Jordan Grace on March 22nd, I believe. Um, I wasn't, I wouldn't say that I wasn't completely ready, but I wasn't as experienced. I'm not saying that I have a lot of experience now, but I have learned a lot from the female talent that I've worked with, and I would say that my career has gone or has been going great since the beginning of this year. I actually just took off, and I'm booked this whole month, um, every weekend actually. Uh, so I think that for not even wrestling for a year yet, I think that I'm doing very well, and um, wrestling has been a part of my life for a long time. So I think that, yeah, I've worked with a lot of great female workers, and I hope that I get to keep working with a lot of new faces and a lot of new workers. I want to meet new people, and I'm very excited for this year. This year is going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be a great year.
From what I've heard and from the matches I've had a chance to see online, mainly through YouTube, you, Miss Cat Green, have a bright future. You definitely have held your own. You as far as woman in Texas is concerned, you definitely have a bright future, not just in Texas, but at least throughout this country. Just a few weeks ago, you had a chance to go up against what then NWA Women's Champion Casey Carlisle. That was her last title defense before she ended up losing to a fellow Texan in Barbie Hayden. What was it like being in the same wing as the NWA Women's Champion?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of intimidated. Very, very happy and excited to work with her. She's a great worker. She's a great person. Um, Definitely learned a lot from her, and I'm actually going to be wrestling on the March 8th of this month, March 8th, next weekend against Barbie Hayden for the NWA Women's Championship belt again. So I'm going to be going up against Barbie on March 8th, and I'm very excited about that as well. Another opportunity for me, and I hope that I can make an impression up there. So yeah, I'm very excited. This is going to be a good year for sure.
Well, you definitely have already made an impression. Not only you face Casey, but now you're going up against Barbie, And I gotta say, you keep this up. Who knows? You may be a future NWA Women's Champion. You may be having that belt. At least in your case, at least keep the championship in the Lone Star State of Texas. Um, so who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career? The ones that stood out to you that made you want to become a wrestler.
It's a very good question. I have a few, but the ones that made the biggest impression on me and the reason why I became a wrestler is because of Sarah Del Rey and cheerleader Melissa, Mercedes Martinez, Mephisto. I watch a lot of Shimmer DVDs and Shine. I try to keep myself educated when it comes to um, that part of a female wrestling. I mean, I enjoy it. I love training and I love learning new things and becoming better. But for sure, Sarah Del Rey has been a big, big influence in my wrestling career as well as cheerleader Melissa for sure.
That being said, now that you've mentioned, Shimmer and Shine, and by the way, Shine is currently have a show going on right now as we're talking, or at least they're ending their show. Well, tag
Yeah,
team tournament, a tag team titles tournament. That being said, you know, I guess this kind of segue into my next question. Is that something that you would like to be a part of once you feel like you're ready to, expand yourself and go up against some of the top caliber talents? Is that something that you want to do in the future? Compete in Shimmer and Shine, WSU, etc.
of course, that's been my goal since I joined wrestling. I want to work for Shimmer. That'd be amazing to me. A lot of great women have worked there, and a lot of familiar faces that you've seen in WWE. And I'm not saying that WWE is my goal, but pretty much every wrestler's goal is to move on to WWE. But right now, I like the speed that my career is going in, and I like the direction that it's going in. And I think that for Shimmer, that's probably somewhere where I'd like to be next this year. If not, I'd love to venture out to Japan or anywhere around the United States. Right now, I'm just kind of staying in Texas, and I'm trying to kind of make my name known here first, and then try to take over the rest.
Well, considering that you are part of NWA company, and we all know that NWA is definitely a high caliber company as it pertains to the wrestling business. It's definitely a place you want to go to make a name for yourself, move yourself up the ranks, if you will, and then, maybe one day you will get a call from the big companies and things like that. I mean, as you know what they say in the wrestling business, never say never. So, I mean, there may be some people that be watching you and you may not know. You just focusing on, you know, performing the best that you can be. Um, so, that being said, what would your advice? I know you just been wrestling for almost a year, but what would your advice be to any aspiring wrestler that really wants to take their career to where you are when you are, a year into your career and you feel like you really can do this long term? What would your advice be?
My advice, it would just be to keep training. There's always time to learn. You always learn new things, and I think that you should train at least, I mean, as much as possible. If I could train every day, all day, that's all I would do. But, I mean, just like any other person, I have a regular job, and I can't be doing that every single day, and I don't own a ring that I can do it in. So I kind of only do it once or twice a week. But I also wrestle every week, so it's practice for me as well. And for any aspiring wrestler that wants to become somebody, I would say keep training, train really, really hard, study, and promote yourself, get your name out there. Um, that's supposed to be basically my words to anybody that would want to become uh, a wrestler. It's definitely keep training for sure. There's always room for improvement and always uh, to learn new things. I love training. That's probably my favorite part of wrestling, and I enjoy it a lot. And that's my number one thing: training. Train really, really hard because that's going to get you to places for sure.
And my last question before I let you go is for people that wants to learn more about your journey and learn more about your upcoming shows, etc. Why don't you go ahead and promote your Facebook, your Twitter, or any other links that people need to know?
Well, I do have a my Facebook. I have a like page under Cat Green. I also have my regular Facebook. It's also under Cat Green. I usually post up all my dates, my bookings, and pictures, and pretty much anything that you need to know, or where I'm at, where I'm going to be. It's usually all through Facebook. And Twitter, I do have a Twitter account as well. I'm not really too, I don't really follow it as much, but I try to keep myself in the technology, I guess, loop, and try to get my name out there through any kind of social network. So Twitter, Instagram. My Twitter is number 6 living dead girl. I'm a big Rob Zombie fan, so as well as well, yeah, my Instagram is also under Cat Green. So I mean, any kind of social network, I have it. It's Facebook, like page, Twitter account, and Instagram. So, but if you want to know where I'm going to be at and where I'm at 24/7, it's got to be my account, my Facebook account under Cat Green for sure.
All I gotta say is that is a very interesting meaning behind the Twitter name, Miss Womp Zombie fan that you are. Well, Miss Green, it was great chatting with you, and I wish I can chat with you a little bit longer, but you do have a wrestling show to get prepared for, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. And again, thank you for your time. You are definitely welcome to be back. Maybe we can extend follow up interviews some other time. But thank you for your time. Have a great show tonight. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and it was great hearing from you. And yes, anytime you want to talk or whatever, just this is my number. So anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kat. And again, have a great show. Have a great night. And have a great weekend.